everybody has hope. And I know we all, as football fans and Cowboy fans, we see Surtain, and I think Surtain is going to be a hell of a player in this league. But I just don't think that that's the right draft pick. I think that, you signed your quarterback. I think you have a dynamic offense, and you expect to play with leads. So when you play with leads, what's the easiest way to protect those leads? Is just get some more guys up front to get after the quarterback. And, obviously they have an established pass rusher that's a dominant guy and a top 10 pass rusher in the league in DeMarcus Lawrence. I would just like to see them get, book in somebody that can be dominant, that can allow Randy Gregory to continue to progress, but not put so much pressure on him, or get a dominant defensive tackle that can, be a Aaron Donald type. I know Aaron Donald's a generational player, but you want to get that type of player. And, pass rush is rules the world. Look at Tampa Bay. They got after everyone in the playoffs, and that defense came alive, and it forced turnovers. And I just think it would be a lot to, have two young cornerbacks and not a sufficient pass rush.
You use the term glass half full. Skip used the term glass half full. I just want to know what's in that glass. Because if it's milk, okay, there's a possibility. If it's Coca-Cola Mountain Dew, there's a possibility. But what if it's antifreeze? What if it's arsenic? What if it's cyanide? You still as optimistic if the glass is half full? Hell no. So let me ask you, keep telling me these big name guys, DeMarcus Lawrence, Jalen Smith, Wolfhorn, tell me the time that you said, you know what, DeMarcus Lawrence, the last year you said DeMarcus Lawrence played like a $20 million guy. I'll wait.
DeMarcus Lawrence towards the end of the year last year, you even jumped on the bandwagon yourself.
The dude had 5 sacks. I'm paying $20 million for 5 sacks.
His effect on the game is ridiculous. And you look at DeMarcus Ware's last year in Dallas. He didn't produce in sacks. You went and you put him over there.
What did they do?
No. They gave him a chance. He wanted to go be somewhere.
He ended up in Dallas. He ended up in Denver. They cut it.
100%. No. I absolutely. But that's because there was people like you in the building saying, "Oh, he don't got it no more. What is he doing?" And he made him eat them words.
No,
he ate them.
I'm saying, if he has it, he has to show. You got to pay. You got to, for the production that they're paying, you got to give them production for what they're paying you. Jalen Smith, you keep mentioning Tampa. So I want to know who's Levante David and who's Devin White for the Dallas Cowboys. Since you mentioned Tampa, tell me which one.
But Levante David and Devin White are hell of a players. But I'm looking more so who's JPP, who's Shaq Barrett, who's DeMarcus Lawrence is every bit as good as Shaq Barrett. Every bit. If you swap Tampa Bay would swap those two out at $22 million in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I guarantee you, Tampa would not trade DeMarcus Lawrence for Shaq Barrett. If they could,
at $22 million in a heartbeat.
No way. Because Shaq Barrett plays both. He does both. D-Law is good at the run, but if you said D-Law is the same guy this year as he was the 2 years until leading up to that contract, you fooling yourself. You fooling yourself.
If I asked you if I signed you to host Undisputed and then I turned around and asked you to host a betting show, you'd be terrible too. They signed that guy to be a 4-3 defensive lineman, and then they want to have him stand up.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. They fired Chris Richard and Rod Marinelli. Can you tell the people at home what defense did Chris Richard run and what defense does Dan Quinn run?
Chris Richard is basically a Dan Quinn disciple.
So he's going to run the same defense, right?
To a degree, yes.
Okay, so what kind of production did D-Law give you in Chris Richard's defense?
We'll see 2018.
Let's go back. Let's go back a step further.
Okay.
That's all. We getting ahead of ourselves. Dan Quinn was running Gus Bradley's defense, correct?
That is correct.
Gus Bradley was running Rod Marinelli and Monty Kiffin's defense, correct? Correct.
See,
since we want to go get the book out and do some history.
I don't really want to go back that far because we're gonna lose the people. Because I think Monty and Rod's defense is a lot. That cover two, I think it's a little different than the single high safety. I see what you're saying because they run the middle linebacker to the middle of the field. It makes it look like cover three.
But wait. When my last few years that I was there and we had DeMarcus and DeMarcus was ascending in his production, we ran some cover too. Yeah. But on rundowns, we're single high one gap team.
Yeah.
They bring in, Mike Nolan, who can't tell his
I know what you're saying.
behind from his elbow, and then they have a shortened like a COVID, a pandemic season. And I'm not making excuses for any stretch of the means, but DeMarcus Lawrence is a capable and he is a hell of a player, and I'm not gonna write him off.
I need to put
he
it
had
down.
Some dominant times. He had some dominant times last year, and I'm gonna put it here. He's gonna have double-digit sacks this season.
I don't need
double-digit sacks.
Agreed.
28th in scoring, Skip.
Sacks.
Y'all was 31st in run D, Skip. Y'all was 26th on third down, Skip. 23rd in yards per play. 20th in sacks, and had the 5th fewest interceptions. But you're going to go to the Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Oh, see, now you paint the narrative because the Eagles is going to be one of the worst teams in the league, so you upset.
That's fact.
That's the narrative you want to paint. You want to talk about last year. We're talking about now what you asked me what they should do in the draft. I said get some more pass rush, get some more capable and willing people, on the defense, and allow DeMarcus Lawrence to be DeMarcus Lawrence.
Okay, you lost me on one count. You said Patrick Surtain is not the pick at 10th, even though he's the top corner in the draft to me and would be a great bookend to Trevon Diggs. But you said no, you need another pass rusher, right?
Go get you some cereal without no milk and see how it tastes.
Okay, so I don't know where to go at 10 because that Micah Parsons was at Penn State, and he opted out last year, and I saw he flashed to me a little bit, but I just don't know if he's dominating. I don't think he's as good as DeMarcus Lawrence is. So I don't know that there's anybody who is worthy of the 10th pick that can do what you say.
Is Patrick Surtain Darrelle Revis?
No, but you don't need to do.
I don't think like playing defensive back and the lumps that you take as a young player, I don't think that without being able to rush the passer, you can be successful in this league.
But you got DeMarcus Lawrence, so you should be able to rush the passer. Remember,
that's one pass rusher.
Okay,
the Broncos had Von Miller for a long time, and just Von Miller. And how was that?
Okay, but you played with Randy Gregory, right? You think he's come back alive?
I ain't ready to push my chips in on a guy that's been suspended 6 times. You know what I mean?
But still, he made it through last year, and at the end of the year, he was popping off my screen, man, because he can fly off that edge.
Why are we all against getting some more upfront players? Why are we all against being dominant up front? If you look at the teams that were dominant defensively, they were dominant up front. The Seahawks, dominant up front.
Okay.
Tampa, dominant up front.
All right, but there is this thing called free agency, and they are going to have big cap space because Dak is only going to count 22.2. By the way, DeMarcus Lawrence counts more against the cap next year than Dak does.
But Skip, y'all been terrible in free agency. Y'all signed Gerald McCoy. He got hurt.
Okay, but that wasn't a terrible move. He just got hurt.
Okay, what about Dontari Poe?
Okay.
What about Clinton Dix?
I thought that was a good move. I don't know what happened.
They cut him before they got to training camp. Then they traded Everson Griffin.
I don't know why, because I thought he was pretty good.
They signed these guys but they cut them before the season even started.
Remember what happened? It was absolute mutiny against Mike Nolan, and Jerry finally said, I got to clean out the mutineers. I got to just wipe them out. He cut every free agent he had signed. He wiped out the locker room because they were about to storm the castle and say, we can't play for this guy.
But this is my thing, though. Why not try to find a great pass rusher or a great interior player, or just somebody in your front 7, and allocate some of that money towards Patrick Peterson or a guy like that?
Maybe.
A proven guy. I'm not a big proponent. Everybody ain't going to switch teams like Sharp and still have the same drive. It takes somebody with special character like that. And I've done a lot of research on Shannon. I was younger when he was playing, but I know he was dominant. But when he went over to the Ravens, he came in with a selfless mentality, and he just wanted to win. And that's why he turned out to be what he turned out to be. And I know I might feel like I'm like gloating him, but he just comes from like a special bloodline. You see what his brother was, you see his work ethic, you see the way he comes about and the way he works every day on the show. And everybody's not going to be like that. You're going to get some guys that are going to come in free agency and just, get the money and get paid and get laid. They're done. They're checked out.
So in other words, you would like the Dallas Cowboys, if Shaq Barrett's available, you like them to make a run at Shaq Barrett?
I mean, you make a run at pass rushers, yeah, but I'm not a big proponent in paying top dollar with somebody. Like, I really believe after spending over a decade in the league that the teams that are successful are the teams that draft and develop talent well. I'm a firm believer, if you sign a big time free agent, you better use him like he was used where he was. A lot of